So it finally happened. Blood DK Nerfs are in. Let me tell you how I think about it, how I feel about it. Just got home from golf, took a shower, hair still wet. Come in, sit down, and read this. So I'll read it first. We'll see what it actually says. This is the name of the actual set. The Soul Steel's 2-piece set bonus. Heartstrike now increases the duration of dancing rune weapon by 0.33 seconds. Was 0.5 seconds. And the tooltip will display only 1 decimal point. Second decimal point, that's coming in a later patch. Who cares? I don't understand that part, but whatever. Yeah, okay, so how do I feel about it? To be honest, dude, I'm gonna let you in a little secret. I do not enjoy the set bonus at all. It actually makes the spec feel less fun. I felt like I had a really good rhythm in Season 2. Really, like, Season 2 was just like, it was actually probably the most fun I've had playing Blood DK, maybe ever. I've enjoyed it a lot in a lot of different iterations, but it was like really good. And I was like full of optimism because it looked like they had, a really good combination of things coming in with Nefei. The legendary is really cool. It's quite powerful. And the set bonus that they originally had drafted seemed like it was going to be great for 5-mans. I was like, oh, that seems ideal for me. I don't really know why they changed it, to be honest, to whatever they changed it to. I haven't not really followed it, to be honest. Like I didn't even know they changed it until I made the previous video about the why they should nerf it, because I didn't realize it was like actually bugged, or it's like bugged or something. I don't actually know. Something about it was wrong somewhere or something. I don't fully understand, to be honest. But yeah, the original iteration seemed like it would have been way more balanced. It was basically only going to be good in big AoE situations. And that's kind of like their niche, don't you think? Like, I mean, to me, it feels like that's kind of their niche. So I didn't really have any issue with that. But I don't really know how big of a deal this is going to be. That's the question. Like, the way I've been playing, I was barely getting like, a lot of times I'd only have like 30 some stacks anyway. I think I was still doing well. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like basically turned the class into a DPS spec. And that's why I made the video about why it should be nerfed, because it was like actually out damaging single target as well. Like and even in raid and even in 5-man fights, like if heroism is up at the start and so is rune weapon, I'm going to be competing for top DPS right now. And I don't know if that's going to change, because like a lot of the reason that would be the case is because I would be getting like a minute worth of dancing rune weapon. So what am I going to get now? Like 40 seconds? I don't really know what it's actually going to be, but it makes me think a little bit more like the BFA one, Eternal Rune Weapon, where if you didn't hammer those first few globals, you would just fall behind irreparably and you'd never catch up. And that was what was nice about it being 0.5 seconds, because you can also get the free extension, but with the extra rune weapons, it would be like, oh, it would outpace a global. So every global you would use, it would be the global's cooldown would be shorter than the extension. And it was kind of like this balancing act. It's like, okay, when can I use Death Strike? All right, there's time here. Then we'll catch up again. Then we get a couple globals of Heart Strike. We caught up. We're back to even. We're keeping it up. But now it just feels like it's going to be literally don't use anything but Heart Strike and just get even more haste. Like I just don't think that this is the right way to nerf this. They should just be nerfing the strength thing. Because I feel like the actual problem with the set bonus is the offensive element. I don't really feel like the defensive element, even though that's also pretty ridiculous. I don't really feel like that's that big of an outlier. Like, Blood DK is already a stellar tank defensively, and that's probably not going to change after this. That's why I fell in love with it. You can effectively like solo your way through almost everything, including like higher keys, and I just don't really see that part being a problem. So I'm kind of disappointed that they took this approach. They should be nerfing the strength stacking. That seems like the right choice to me. Whatever. Rune weapon being up. Like, I honestly think if you just had dancing rune weapon up 100% of a fight, and the other portions of the set bonus didn't exist, it would actually not even, you would barely gain that much. It's really not that good. Like, the weapon is good and it does a lot of offense on its own, but it's just really not that crazy. Like, it's just this, it's that the fact that you're getting 75% more strength, which is also double dipping into the defense as well. Honestly, I'm going to say this right now. Like, this is a really dumb set bonus. It's pretty clear that this was always going to be overpowered. I don't fully understand what led them to make it the way it is. But it's almost like, wow, they were really clueless on this one. I don't know who actually came up with this iteration of it, but it's like, man, first iteration was what you should have stuck with. That would have been, probably overpowered in 5-mans, maybe, but I just don't think a tank can be this overpowered in single target. The problem for me though is Proud Pally is also this overpowered, and I don't know. There's some comments on this post as well saying like, why is it that something was bad all expansion and it now is good and then it gets nerfed immediately, but something that was good all expansion and is still around the same relative power level hasn't been changed. And I don't know, just like general speaking there, I don't know what exactly they're talking about, but it's a good question. Like, what is specifically happening here? I think the cynical viewpoint would be it's the MDI. And I'm trying not to overreact to that because, first of all, it's happening during the MDI, right? Like the MDI is not over, I don't think. Anyway, I don't actually know when it ends, but I don't really care. It's completely, I don't have any interest in it. But I will say that I have to say that that is just doing nothing for the game. Like, I really think that's just harming the game in so many different ways. One, because it's not realistic at all. And so you have people who might be on the periphery. It's kind of the same reason I don't like LFR. And not personally, but I think it's bad for the game. It's the same reason. It's just on the other direction. It's like you have this system that is like, this thing that people are watching that is so out of reality. It's just not how the game works at all. You don't have like extremely, extremely skilled players running keys that are like what? I mean, we could be generous here. We'll just say a couple levels lower than their skill threshold might indicate. You know what I mean? And they're way more geared than their actual characters as well, most of them. And you can literally choose whatever you want. Like you can get whatever gear and stats and everything you want. You don't have that. That's not how the game works. You don't just run the same key over and over again until you can beat it in 10 minutes. It's just not Mythic Plus. I mean, I don't know what that is. That's challenge mode. It's like they designed this back in MOP and they forgot to publish it until Legion or whenever this started. It's a really dumb idea. And the Great Push is infinitely better because that's actually Mythic Plus. Like you actually upgrade keys and the difficulty of that is shown. But I'm trying not to, assume that, but I will say that it's disappointing because playing to the strengths of this set bonus is incredibly, like, it's very difficult. And this tank is already a very difficult tank to play. Now, I've been saying that it's the hardest tank to play for a long time. You could make it a case for other tanks. I don't really care, but it's certainly a complicated play style regardless. Like having to monitor something so profusely to get the maximum benefit out of it and having to like stack very specific stats and maybe even conduits and covenant, like soul binds and trinkets and all this stuff to play into it. It's like, dude, this is not like your average player is not going to do what these people are doing, and myself included. You know what I mean? So I don't like that at all, but it was inevitable. And I made a video on it a while ago for obvious reasons about why it should have been nerfed. The reason was it's way too powerful on single target. And as I said back then, there was going to be no easy way to nerf this. And so we see the uneasy way. So I don't know what it's going to look like, but I figured I might as well make a quick video on this because obviously a lot of people are probably going to be asking how I feel about it. Well, as of right now, I will say I just don't care, to be honest. The set bonus was just not fun in the first place. I would be happy if they just removed it and gave us a new one at this point, but that's obviously not going to happen. I don't want to play like this. I don't want to spam Heart Strike over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's just not fun. The Blood DK had like such a good rhythm. I feel like, you'd constantly kind of like, I felt like I was kind of scouting it out. I'm like, okay, do I Death Strike now? Wait, should I wait? Now it's just like, don't even, just parry 90% of your hits and just smash Heart Strike until your finger falls off. So not for me, but I get it. It's really powerful. So you obviously can't complain about that. We'll see what it looks like now. But yeah, my thoughts on like theoretically what it's going to do, whether it's nerfed or not, I couldn't care less. I feel like the more I play, the less I care about the set bonus. It's great in raids and it's kind of cool to like, hey, look at all the DPS I beat in a raid. It's kind of cool, but it's just like this is not me, dude. I don't play DPS. I play tank. So